The deliberator belongs to an elite order, a hallowed subcategory. He's got a spree up to here. Right now, he is preparing to carry out his third mission of the night. His uniform is black as activated charcoal, filtering the very light out of the air. A bullet will bounce off its arachnofiber weave like a wren hitting a patio door, but excess perspiration wafts through it like a breeze through a freshly napalmed forest. The deliberator is in touch with the road, starts like a bad day, stops on a peseta. Why is the deliberator so equipped? Because people rely on him. He's a role model. This is America. People do whatever the fuck they feel like doing. You got a problem with that? Because they have a right to. And because they have guns and no one can fucking stop them. You know what? There's only 4 things we do better than anyone else. Music, movies, microcode, software, high-speed pizza delivery. The deliberator used to make software, still does, sometimes. But if life were a mellow elementary school run by well-meaning education PhDs, the deliberator's report card would say, "Hero is so bright and creative, but needs to work harder on his cooperation skills." So now he has this other job. No brightness or creativity involved, but no cooperation either. Just a single principle. The deliberator stands tall. Your pie in 30 minutes or you can have it free, shoot the driver, take his car, file a class action suit. But he wouldn't drive for Cosa Nostra Pizza any other way. You know why? Because there's something about having your life on the line. It's like being a kamikaze pilot. Your mind is clear. Other people, store clerks, burger flippers, software engineers, the whole vocabulary of meaningless jobs that make up life in America. Other people just rely on plain old competition. Better flip your burgers or debug your subroutines faster and better than your high school classmate 2 blocks down the strip is flipping or debugging, because we're in competition with those guys, and people notice these things. What a fucking rat race that is. The deliberator was a corporal in the farms of Maryvale State Security Force for a while once. Got himself fired for pulling a sword on an acknowledged perp. Slid it right through the fabric of the perp's shirt, gliding the flat of the blade along the base of his neck, and pinned him to a warped and bubbled expanse of vinyl siding on the wall of the house that the perp was trying to break into. Thought it was a pretty righteous bust. But they fired him anyway, because the perp turned out to be the son of the vice-chancellor of the farms of Maryvale. Oh, the weasels had an excuse. Said that a 36-inch samurai sword was not on their weapons protocol. Said that he had violated the SPAC, the Suspected Perpetrator Apprehension Code. Said that the perp had suffered psychological trauma. He was afraid of butter knives now. He had to spread his jelly with the back of a teaspoon. They said that he'd exposed them to liability. The deliberator had to borrow some money to pay for it. Had to borrow it from the mafia, in fact. So he's in their database now. Retinal patterns, DNA, voice graph, fingerprints, footprints, palm prints, wrist prints, every fucking part of the body that had wrinkles on it, almost, those bastards rolled in ink and made a print and digitized it into their computer. But it's their money. Sure, they're careful about loaning it out. And when he applied for the deliberator job, they were happy to take him because they knew him. When he got the loan, he had the deal personally with the assistant vice capo of the valley, who later recommended him for the deliberator job. So it was like being in a family, a really scary, twisted, abusive family. Cosa Nostra Pizza number 3569 is on Vista Road, just down from Kings Park Mall. Vista Road used to belong to the state of California and now is called Fairlanes Inc., route CSV-5. Its main competition used to be a U.S. highway and is now called Cruiseways Inc., route Cal-12. Farther up the valley, the 2 competing highways actually cross. Once there had been bitter disputes, the intersection closed by sporadic sniper fire. Finally, a big developer bought the entire intersection and turned it into a drive-through mall. Now the roads just feed into a parking system, not a lot, not a ramp, but a system, and lose their identity. Getting through the intersection involves tracing paths through the parking system, many braided filaments of direction like the Ho Chi Minh Trail. CSV-5 has better throughput, but Cal 12 has better pavement. That is typical. Fairlane's roads emphasize getting you there for Type A drivers, and cruiseways emphasize the enjoyment of the ride for Type B drivers. The Deliverator is a Type A driver with rabies. He is zeroing in on his home base, Cosa Nostra Pizza number 3569, cranking up the left lane of CSV-5 at 120 kilometers. His car is an invisible black lozenge, just a dark place that reflects the tunnel of franchise signs, the low glow. A row of orange lights burbles and churns across the front, where the grille would be if this were an air-breathing car. The orange light looks like a gasoline fire. It comes in through people's rear windows, bounces off their rearview mirrors, projects a fiery mask across their eyes, reaches into their subconscious, and unearths terrible fears of being pinned, fully conscious, under a detonating gas tank, makes them want to pull over and let the Deliverator overtake them in his black chariot of pepperoni fire. The low glow overhead, marking out CSV-5 and twin contrails, is a body of electrical light made of innumerable cells, each cell designed in Manhattan by imagiers who make more for designing a single logo than a Deliverator will make in his entire lifetime. Despite their efforts to stand out, they all smear together, especially at 120 kilometers per hour. Still, it is easy to see Cosa Nostra Pizza number 3569 because of the billboard, which is wide and tall even by current inflated standards. In fact, the squat franchise itself looks like nothing more than a low-slung base for the great aramid fiber pillars that thrust the billboard up into the trademark firmament. Marca registrada, baby. The billboard is a classic, a chestnut, not a figment of some fleeting mafia promotional campaign. It is a statement, a monument built to endure. Simple and dignified, it shows Uncle Enzo in one of his spiffy Italian suits. The pinstripes glint and flex like sinews. The pocket square is luminous. His hair is perfect, slicked back with something that never comes off. Each strand cut off straight and square at the end by Uncle Enzo's cousin, Art the Barber, who runs the second largest chain of low-end haircutting establishments in the world. Uncle Enzo is standing there, not exactly smiling, an avuncular glint in his eye for sure, not posing like a model, but standing there like your uncle would. And it says, "The Mafia. You've got a friend in the family. Paid for by the Our Thing Foundation." The billboard serves as the Deliverator's pole star. He knows that when he gets to the place on CSV-5, where the bottom corner of the billboard is obscured by the pseudo-Gothic stained glass arches of the local Reverend Wayne's Pearly Gates franchise, it's time for him to get over into the right lanes where the retards and the bimbo boxes poke along, random, indecisive, looking at each passing franchise's driveway like they don't know if it's a promise or a threat. He cuts off a bimbo box, a family minivan, veers past the buy and fly that is next door, and pulls into Cosa Nostra Pizza number 3569. Those big fat contact patches complain, squeal a little bit, but they hold on to the patented Fairlane's Inc. high-traction pavement and guide him into the chute. No other Deliverators are waiting in the chute. That is good. That means high turnover for him, fast action, keep moving that za. As he scrunches to a stop, the electromechanical hatch on the flank of his car is already opening to reveal his empty pizza slots, the door clicking and folding back in on itself like the wing of a beetle. The slots are waiting for hot pizza. And waiting. The Deliverator honks his horn. This is not a nominal outcome. Window slides open. That should never happen. You can look at the 3-ring binder from Cosa Nostra Pizza University, cross-reference the citation for window, chute, dispatchers, and it will give you all the procedures for that window, and it should never be opened, unless something has gone wrong. The window slides open and, you sitting down? Smoke comes out of it. The Deliverator hears a discordant beetling over the metal hurricane of his sound system and realizes that it is a smoke alarm, coming from inside the franchise. Mute button on the stereo. Oppressive silence. His eardrums uncringe. The window is buzzing with the cry of the smoke alarm. The car idles, waiting. The hatch has been open too long. Atmospheric pollutants are congealing on the electrical contacts in the back of the pizza slots. He'll have to clean them ahead of schedule. Everything is going exactly the way it shouldn't go in the 3-ring binder that spells out all the rhythms of the pizza universe. Inside, a football-shaped Abkhazian man is running to and fro, holding a 3-ring binder open, using his spare tire as a ledge to keep it from collapsing shut. He runs with the gait of a man carrying an egg on a spoon. He is shouting in the Abkhazian dialect. All the people who run Cosa Nostra pizza franchises in this part of the valley are Abkhazian immigrants. It does not look like a serious fire. The deliberator saw a real fire once, at the farms of Maryvale, and you couldn't see anything for the smoke. That's all it was. Smoke, burbling out of nowhere. Occasional flashes of orange light down at the bottom, like heat lightning in tall clouds. This is not that kind of fire. It is the kind of fire that just barely puts out enough smoke to detonate the smoke alarms. And he is losing time for this shit. The deliberator holds the horn button down. The Abkhazian manager comes to the window. He is supposed to use the intercom to talk to drivers. He could say anything he wanted and it would be piped straight into the deliberator's car. But no, he has to talk face to face, like the deliberator is some kind of fucking ox cart driver. He's red-faced, sweating. His eyes roll as he tries to think of the English words. Fire, a little one, he says. The deliberator says nothing, because he knows that all of this is going onto videotape. The tape is being pipelined, as it happens, to Cosa Nostra Pizza University, where it will be analyzed in a pizza management science laboratory. It will be shown to Pizza University students, perhaps to the very students who will replace this man when he gets fired, as a textbook example of how to screw up your life. New employee put his dinner in the microwave, had foil in it. Boom, the manager says. Abkhazia had been part of the Soviet fucking Union. A new immigrant from Abkhazia trying to operate a microwave was like a deep-sea tube worm doing brain surgery. Where did they get these guys? Weren't there any Americans who could bake a fucking pizza? Just give me one pie, the deliberator says. Talking about pie snaps the guy into the current century. He gets a grip. He slams the window shut, strangling the relentless keening of the smoke alarm. A Nipponese robot arm shoves the pizza out and into the top slot. The hatch folds shut to protect it. As the deliberator is pulling out of the chute, building up speed, checking the address that is flashed across his windshield, deciding whether to turn right or left, it happens. His stereo cuts out again, on command of the onboard system. The cockpit lights go red. Red. A repetitive buzzer begins to sound. The LED readout on his windshield, which echoes the one on the pizza box, flashes up. 20:00. They have just given the deliberator a 20-minute-old pizza. He checks the address. It is 12 miles away. 2. The deliberator lets out an involuntary roar and puts the hammer down. His emotions tell him to go back and kill that manager, get his swords out of the trunk, dive in through the little sliding window like a ninja, track him down through the moiling chaos of the microwave franchise, and confront him in a climactic, thick-crust apocalypse. But he thinks the same thing when someone cuts him off on the freeway, and he's never done it. Yet. He can handle this. This is doable. He cranks up the orange warning lights to maximum brilliance, puts his headlights on auto flash. He overrides the warning buzzer, jams the stereo over to taxi scan, which cruises all the taxi driver frequencies, listening for interesting traffic. Can't understand a fucking word. You could buy tapes, learn while you drive, and learn to speak taxi lingo. It was essential to get a job in that business. They said it was based on English, but not one word in 100 was recognizable. Still, you could get an idea. If there was trouble on this road, they'd be babbling about it in Taxi-linga, give him some warning, let him take an alternate route so he wouldn't get... He grips the wheel. Stuck in traffic. His eyes get big. He can feel the pressure driving them back into his skull, or caught behind a mobile home. His bladder is very full. And deliver the pizza. Oh, God. Oh, God. Late. 2206 hangs on the windshield. All he can see, all he can think about, is 3001. The taxi drivers are buzzing about something. Taxi-linga is mellifluous babble with a few harsh foreign sounds, like butter spiced with broken glass. He keeps hearing fare. They're always jabbering about their fucking fares. Big deal. What happens if you deliver your fare late? You don't get as much of a tip? Big deal. Big slowdown at the intersection of CSV-5 and Oahu Road, per usual. Only way to avoid it is to cut through the Mews at Windsor Heights. TMAWHs, the Mews at Windsor Heights, all have the same layout. When creating a new burbclave, TMAWH Development Corporation will chop down any mountain ranges and divert the course of any mighty rivers that threaten to interrupt this street plan, ergonomically designed to encourage driving safety. A deliverator can go into a Mews at Windsor Heights anywhere from Fairbanks to Yaroslavo to the Shenzhen Special Economic Zone and find his way around. But once you've delivered a pie to every single house in a TMAWH a few times, you get to know its little secrets. The deliverator is such a man. He knows that in a standard TMAWH, there is only 1 yard that prevents you from driving straight in one entrance, across the burbclave, and out the other. If you are squeamish about driving on grass, it might take you 10 minutes to meander through TMAWH. But if you have the balls to lay tracks across that 1 yard, you have a straight shot through the center. The deliverator knows that yard. He has delivered pizza there. He has looked at it, scoped it out, memorized the location of the shed and the picnic table, can find them even in the dark, knows that if it ever came to this, a 23-minute pizza, miles to go, and a slowdown at CSV-5 in Oahu, he could enter the Mews at Windsor Heights, his electronic delivery man's visa would race the gate automatically, scream down Heritage Boulevard, rip the turn onto Strawbridge Place, ignoring the dead-end sign and the speed limit and the children playing ideograms that are strung so liberally throughout TMAWH, thrash the speed bumps with his mighty radials, blast up the driveway of number 15 Strawbridge Circle, cut a hard left around the backyard shed, careen into the backyard of number 84 Mayapple Place, avoid its picnic table, tricky, get into their driveway and out onto Mayapple, which takes him to Bellwood Valley Road, which runs straight to the exit of the burbclave. TMAWH security police might be waiting for him at the exit, but their STDs, severe tire damage devices, only point one way. They can keep people out, but not keep them in. This car can go so fucking fast that if a cop took a bite of a donut as the deliverator was entering Heritage Boulevard, he probably wouldn't be able to swallow it until about the time the deliverator was shrieking out onto Oahu. Thunk. And more red lights come up on the windshield. The perimeter security of the deliverator's vehicle has been breached. No, it can't be. Someone is shadowing him right off his left flank, a person on a skateboard rolling down the highway right behind him, just as he is laying in his approach vectors to Heritage Boulevard. The deliverator, in his distracted state, has allowed himself to get pooned, as in harpooned. It is a big, round, padded electromagnet on the end of an arachnofiber cable. It is just thunked onto the back of the deliverator's car and stuck. 10 feet behind him, the owner of this cursed device is surfing, taking him for a ride, skateboarding along like a water skier behind a boat. In the rear view, flashes of orange and blue. The parasite is not just a punk out having a good time. It is a businessman making money. The orange and blue coverall, bulging all over with sintered armor gel padding, is the uniform of a courier. A courier, with a K, from Radicas Radical Courier Systems. Like a bicycle messenger, but 100 times more irritating because they don't pedal under their own power. They just latch on and slow you down. Naturally, The deliverator was in a hurry, flashing his lights, squealing his contact patches, the fastest thing on the road. Naturally, the courier would choose him to latch onto. No need to get rattled. With the shortcut through TMAWH, he will have plenty of time. He passes a slower car in the middle lane, then cuts right in front of him. The courier will have to unpoon or else be slammed sideways into the slower vehicle. Done. The courier isn't 10 feet behind him anymore. He is right there, peering in the rear window. Anticipating the maneuver, the courier reeled in his cord, which is attached to a handle with a power reel in it, and is now right on top of the pizza mobile. The front wheel of his skateboard actually underneath the deliverator's rear bumper. An orange and blue gloved hand reaches forward, a transparent sheet of plastic draped over it, and slaps his driver's side window. The deliverator has just been stickered. The sticker is a foot across and reads in big orange block letters, printed backwards so that he can read it from the inside. That was stale. He almost misses the turnoff for the Muse at Windsor Heights. He has to jam the brakes, let traffic clear, cut across the curb lane to enter the Burgclave. The border post is well lighted. The customs agents ready to frisk all comers, cavity search them if they are the wrong kind of people. But the gate flies open as if by magic as the security system senses that this is a Cosa Nostra pizza vehicle, just making a delivery, sir. And as he goes through, the courier, that tick on his ass, waves to the border police. What a prick, like he comes in here all the time. He probably does come in here all the time, picking up important shit for important TMAWH people, delivering it to other FOQNEs, franchise-organized quasi-national entities, getting it through customs. That's what couriers do. Still, he's going too slow, lost all his momentum, his timing is off. Where's the courier? Reeled out some line, is following behind again. The deliverator knows that this jerk is in for a big surprise. Can he stay on his fucking skateboard while he's being hauled over the flattened remains of some kid's plastic tricycle at 100 kilometers? We're going to find out. The courier leans back. The deliverator can't help watching in the rear view. Leans back like a water skier, pushes off against his board, and swings around beside him, now traveling abreast with him up Heritage Boulevard, and slap, another sticker goes up, this one on the windshield. It says, "Smooth move, X-Lax." The deliverator has heard of these stickers. It takes hours to get them off. Have to take the car into a detailing place, pay trillions of dollars. The deliverator has two things on his agenda now. He is going to shake this street scum, whatever it takes, and deliver the fucking pizza all in the space of 24:23. The next 5 minutes and 37 seconds. This is it. Gotta pay more attention to the road. He swings into the side street, no warning, hoping maybe to whipsaw the courier into the street sign on the corner. Doesn't work. The smart ones watch your front tires. They see when you're turning, can't surprise them. Down Strawbridge Place. It seems so long, longer than he remembered. Natural when you're in a hurry. Sees the glint of cars up ahead, cars parked sideways to the road. These must be parked in the circle. And there's the house. Light blue, vinyl clapboard, 2-story with 1-story garage to the side. He makes that driveway the center of his universe, puts the courier out of his mind, tries not to think about Uncle Enzo, what he's doing right now. In the bath, maybe, or taking a crap, or making love to some actress, or teaching Sicilian songs to one of his 26 granddaughters. The slope of the driveway slams his front suspension halfway up into the engine compartment, but that's what suspensions are for. He evades the car in the driveway. Must have visitors tonight. Didn't remember that these people drove a Lexus. Cuts through the hedge, into the side yard, looks for that shed he absolutely must not run into. It's not there. They took it down. Next problem, the picnic table in the next yard. Hang on, there's a fence. When did they put up a fence? This is no time to put on the brakes. Gotta build up some speed, knock it down without blowing all his momentum. It's just a 4-foot wooden thing. The fence goes down easy. He loses maybe 10% of his speed. But strangely, it looked like an old fence. Maybe he made a wrong turn somewhere, he realizes, as he catapults into an empty backyard swimming pool. If it had been full of water, That wouldn't have been so bad. Maybe the car would have been saved. He wouldn't owe Cosa Nostra Pizza a new car. But no, he does a Stuka into the far wall of the pool. It sounds more like an explosion than a crash. The airbag inflates, comes back down a second later, like a curtain revealing the structure of his new life. He is stuck in a dead car, in an empty pool in a TMAWH. The sirens of the Burgklave security police are approaching, and there's a pizza behind his head, resting there like the blade of a guillotine, with 2517 on it. "Where's it going?" someone says. A woman. He looks up through the distorted frame of the window, now rimmed with a fractal pattern of crystallized safety glass. It is the courier talking to him. The courier is not a man. It is a young woman. A fucking teenaged girl. She's pristine, unhurt. She has skated right down into the pool. She's now oscillating back and forth from one side of the pool to the other, skating up one bank almost to the lip, turning around, skating down and across and up the opposite side. She is holding her poon in her right hand, the electromagnet reeled up against the handle so it looks like some kind of strange, wide-angle intergalactic death ray. Her chest glitters like a general's with 100 little ribbons and medals, except each rectangle is not a ribbon. It is a barcode. A barcode with an ID number that gets her into a different business highway, or FOQNE. "Yo," she says. "Where's the pizza going?"